All right, folks, we're live, even though I'm still setting up. Just need a second for the actual live to catch up. This is kind of one of the things you have to do when you do all this stuff by yourself. That way I can immediately mute it so you guys don't hear me talking on it. And we'll give it just a minute for a couple people to get in, because what happens is once you go live, notifications go out and people start jumping in. So it's always good to sort of like chit-chat for a minute before we kick off. And then let's see, I got to get a couple of windows open here. Promise not to be tapping my keyboard too much. But I got my play button still sealed up. We're going to be opening it here very, very soon. Like I said, we'll wait for some people to get into the stream here. First off, can everybody hear me okay? Let me know in the chat. It's always good right off the bat to know that everybody can hear me. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to open this thing, and there's a letter inside from YouTube. I'm going to read that. Talk a little bit about, I guess, the journey or whatever. Let's see. Now we got 60 people in here. That's a good number to start on. So I'm hanging out. It's Cinco de Mayo. I started to go for I like Modelo. I started to go for like a Mexican beer that I like better, but it just seemed wrong to drink anything other than Corona on the Cinco de Mayo that's obstructed by the coronavirus. This is only my second one, but I'm going to need a few. I'm not going to bitch about it too much. This has been a uniquely rough day for me. All stuff related to just the construction around the studio, which we'll talk about after the opening. So let's see, I got some notes here. I want to talk a little bit about kind of why this is so late, because I'm about to hit 150,000. Elijah Emma, thank you for the super chat. I'm getting settled, sort of. It's taking a lot longer than expected, but that's mainly to do with the virus just slowing everything down. So I'm understanding of it, but today has been particularly rough. There's been a lot of things not going right today, but in the grand scheme of things, everything's good. Lime, I didn't have time to cut a lime. I bought some limes. I don't have time to be cutting up a lime. All the shit I had to do before getting in here and talking to y'all, I don't have time to cut up a lime. Okay. Elijah, thanks again for that super chat. It is much appreciated. Speaking of things like super chat, we're going to talk a little bit after the opening about YouTube memberships, which are coming up very, very soon. I finally have access. After complaining to YouTube enough, they gave me access to it, even though I've been qualified to have memberships for over a year. So, All right, we're good to go. We're almost 100 people going to watch me over this. I'm excited. All right, let's pump the brakes. So the delay. This may be boring, but I know some of you are wondering. So I'm almost to 150,000 now, and I'm just now getting it. It's not because it takes that long to process it. It's apparently, as soon as you hit 100,000, they review your channel to make sure you're not spammy or anything. And then they give you a code, basically like a coupon code, so that you can redeem it, so that you can order it. It's free, but I had to place an order with my address and everything. And they give you the code. Well, I never got my code, and I kind of just kept waiting for it. I thought it maybe took a while. Apparently it doesn't. They just didn't send it to me. And apparently that happens quite a bit. As soon as I requested it, they sent it to me. But then I couldn't get it shipped because I was moving, and I didn't want, it's like a 2-week process to ship it, and I didn't want it to overlap the move. So I waited, and the move got delayed. So we're pretty late getting it, but I'm still super excited. And the thing is, I've had it for a week. I got it last Tuesday, and I promise you, I have not opened it. It's all sealed up. The box is a little bit beat up, but what are you going to do? But it is in this box, and we are about to open it. And I wanted to either do a video or a live stream. I think I'm a little more excited to do this live stream and share the moment with you guys, because this does mean a lot to me. It's a thing that not a lot of people get, but a lot of YouTube, any YouTuber that passes 100,000 gets it, and there's a lot of YouTubers that pass 100,000. But it is an accomplishment. It represents, all the work that I put in, but it also represents like all the support that you guys gave me, which is why I wanted to do it with you guys. And then I'm also just, if this is the first time joining me on a live stream, again, I do all this myself, so I'm reading some of the comments as we go. That's why I'll kind of stop. And I'll say this, I've said it before, some of you have heard it. There's almost nothing but there's nothing but positive comments here in the chat. And I'm telling you, I think the comment section on my channel is like 95% positive or at least neutral. Some of it's neutral. It's maybe 5% negative, which might sound like a lot. That is a tiny bit for YouTube. YouTube is home of a lot of negative comments. And I've always been very, very pleased that I have an audience that is just so positive in nature. And I try to reward that. I try to reply to as many comments as possible. Even now, I thought I would have stopped that by now, but even now I try to reply to a lot of them, especially if I feel like I've seen you in the comments before, or if you say something that particularly resonates with me, I'll respond, because I want to support the positive comments. And I used to respond to the negative ones because I thought it was funny. And I just have completely cut that off just because it just is not productive at all. So thanks for all the support. And just being here watching it is supportive. So I'm super excited about that. So let's see. Oh, and then here, I'm getting ready to cut the seal on it. But before that, what I've kind of been thinking about since I got it, like since I got my hands on it, is I've thought about two different types of people. I've thought about people that didn't really have to work as hard to get this, that maybe got lucky or that maybe did YouTube early enough that they hit 100,000, within a couple of months. I've thought about those people and how opening this doesn't necessarily mean as much to them as it will to me. But more than that, I've thought about the people that have had to work harder than me to get this and how much that must mean to them. So I think it means something different to everybody. And I don't mean to get that sentimental about it, but I am excited about it. I think, I'll probably frame it, and it'll probably be like, what those small businesses have where they have their first dollar or something like that. I think down the road, this will be, right now it's kind of a monumental moment, or at least it was when I hit 100,000. And hopefully if things keep going the way they're going, I'll look back in a few years and this will be the achievement of this will pale in comparison to where we are in the future. And I owe all of that really to everybody that watches, but more specifically to everybody watching this and everybody who wanted to but couldn't make it. The people that watch almost everything I upload, that is what has allowed this channel to grow. If you click on one of my videos or open it or tap it, whatever you do, as soon as you get the notification, YouTube takes that and puts that in their analytics and they go, whoa, this is a good one. Flick Connection has an exceptionally good video here. Let's promote it more. That has been responsible for my growth. So it's a combination of me creating the stuff that you want to watch and you guys actually proactively watching it. So without further ado, let's open it. And this isn't a gag or anything. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm going to switch my view. Right now I'm reading all your lovely comments. But I'm going to switch my view because there's a delay, and I want to make sure that I'm like actually opening it with you. So we're breaking the seal. And let's see, what else we got? That's about it. So if you came in late, I'm opening up my 100,000 subscriber silver play button. And then there's supposed to be a letter inside from YouTube, and I'm going to read that kind of as soon as we open it. Let's see. I do want to open it where you can see it. Oh, there it goes. Comes with some foam over it. Drum roll. There's the letter, which we will read. And there it is. Let's see how heavy it is. It's not very heavy. It's dense. It's kind of a solid piece, but it's not that thick. but it's sort of like this brushed aluminum, and then the middle, I don't know if you can see, is there's the reflection of the live stream stuff. The middle is like mirrored, like really nicely. That little triangle in the play button is raised. And the mirror is like really recessed in there. I don't know if you can see that. That's kind of cool. And it says presented to Flick Connection for passing 100,000 subscribers, and it's got the YouTube logo. It's really pretty. Yeah, the metal on it is not very thick. It's not really just a thin veneer either. It's actually like a 1/16 of an inch, machined metal. And then the back is just soft, and it's got some mounting brackets on there. But I think I might actually put this inside of a frame just so that it stays really nice and clean. But that is it. I'll prop it up here, and let's see. I'm gonna read their letter, which is actually printed on. Being a graphic design major, I know nice paper when I see this is actually printed on pretty nice paper. You've just done something that very few YouTube creators accomplish. You've had an astonishing 100,000 people subscribe to your channel. We know that numbers on YouTube can get really big, but we hope that you don't lose sight of the reality behind that 6-digit milestone. Each and every person who has subscribed to your channel has been touched by what you created. They were inspired, challenged, and entertained. I do realize this is like written for everybody that gets one of these, but I think they did a good job crafting this message. You achieved this milestone with hard work, perseverance, and probably a healthy sense of humor too. What you've accomplished can't be taken away from you, and we'd like to recognize all of your hard work for this. With this Silver Creator Award, a small token of our esteem and respect. We know that you don't do this for rewards. You do it because you have a drive to create and share, and because you've found an audience who cares, which we just talked about. Believe us when we say we can't wait to see what you do next. 1 million subscribers may seem a long way off right now, but you're closer than you think, and we're rooting for you. Congratulations. Yours sincerely, and that's Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, signed it. Again, it's just nice. I might even frame these two together, so I'll probably want to, and it'll be on the wall in the studio, which Patreon supporters, if any of you are watching, if you didn't get a chance to see it, I did a more in-depth studio tour. I walked you through the whole thing. That's over there on Patreon right now. All right. There goes a Corona burp. Not a coronavirus burp, a Corona beer burp. Let's see here. So what we'll do, I've got some other stuff I want to talk about related to this. We'll talk a little bit about the current quarantine situation. For anybody that cares, I'll say that to last because I think a lot of us are tired of it. I want this channel to be kind of a break from all that, but there is stuff to talk about. Let's see. I'm just reading your comments. So what was I going to say? Oh, I think that covers it on the button. But if anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to ask. If I catch it, if I see it, and I'm seeing most of the comments, I'll address it, especially if it's a good one. But feel free to consider this like a Q&A time while I maybe talk about some other stuff that I had planned, like the new studio. So, like I said, it's taking longer than expected, but I'm still putting out content. I've got a new video with 20 hidden gems on Netflix, and I think there's only like 2 or 3 movies on all 20 that I've talked about on the channel, like at least once. So most of them are ones that I've never talked about. So that look for that. It'll be out tomorrow. I'm finishing up editing it now. It'll definitely be up in the afternoon or late morning if you're on the, let's say lunchtime if you're on the West Coast. So I'm still putting out content, but at this rate, with all the stuff I'm having to do with the new studio, I'm only really getting 1 out a week, which is fine. I know that's enough, but I'll be returning to at least 2 a week fairly soon. Someone says, any plans for another movie night? Definitely have plans for another movie night, but we are currently in the theater, the screening room, and there is nothing in here. There are these 2 chairs and nothing on the walls. In fact, all the outlets are exposed. It'll be a few weeks, but we're gonna get one. Since there's not a ton of people watching, because I don't want to promise something I can't deliver, I'll tell you, there's a very, very good chance that I'm going to have Jenna Cannell here with me in the screening to watch Terrifier, which she is in and which has been on Netflix forever. So that will be awesome if we can pull that off. I'm kind of waiting to get this a little bit more further along in terms of the studio. I mean, I don't even have the projector and the screen up yet. It's taking a minute to get enough stuff finished so that I can put this stuff. I mean, I'll even show you. Let's see. Let me get back to my. Like, I'm sitting under this ceiling fan right now. Like, see that one white tip on that blade? It's paint. And that's an old ceiling fan that's coming out. But eventually there will be something cool behind me. There'll be some cool studio lights. And this is just the screening room. There's a whole nother room and a bar area and everything. So I'm super excited about that, just for the fact of having some variety in my backgrounds and my settings. But I got a lot more stuff to do, and I'm just trying to I'm trying to get one video out a week, and a good one. I don't want to like half-ass it. That's why I'm only doing the one. That way I can make it a real strong one like you guys are used to. So Nick says, and Elijah, thanks again for the super chat, bud. You do not have to do that, but it just know that it is appreciated. And let me read your question. Are you planning on doing live streams again? So I'm kind of answering your question already. A couple of movies, again, since there's not a ton of people watching, I'll say a couple of movies I've been thinking about is Django Unchained, which is on Netflix. I want to stick kind of with Netflix and maybe some Prime Video, just that way everybody can participate and watch. I don't want to pick something that you have to buy or have to have access to. I want to pick something I know you can watch. So I'm thinking about that one. There was another one I was just watching, and I was like, oh, man, that would be perfect. And I can't remember what it was. Point being, I do have a couple lined up, and I just got to get this studio along a little bit more. And someone says, no, we don't care for the ambience. I get that, but I literally, I don't have, I'm not set up to be able to do it. I will probably do one before the studio's finished, but it's got to get further along before I can even be capable of doing it. So I'll do it soon. Plus, I know it's a good break from everything that's going on, which we'll talk about soon. But the Terrifier one, if I can get Jenna here, because she lives close enough to me to get her here. I've had her in the studio twice before, and she said she wants to do it. We probably need to get past the virus thing a little bit. I haven't talked to her. I don't know what her feelings are on coming to somebody's house at this point, but it's coming around. And then Catherine Corcoran, who was also in the movie, she wants to do it too, but she'll likely have to be on a live stream with us. But I could have Jenna with me and Catherine over live stream. We could do a split screen. It'll be awesome. It's good. I have a strong feeling that's going to happen. I just don't know when, but it'll certainly be in the next few months. Let's see what else I got. What else with the studio? So I'll say this too. The I've got all these windows in here, and obviously for watching movies on a projector, it needs to be dark, so I got to get blackout curtains. And I had somebody give me a digital file of it's a company, and I'll plug them if it all works out, but they gave me I'm super excited about it. They gave me, and it may not work out, but they gave me a digital file of this beautiful Big Lebowski painting that's like blue and pink, and it's him with the white Russian with the sweater at the bowling alley. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I think I can get it custom printed on blackout curtains. So that way this room will have all the windows, but then when I draw them, I'll have this amazing like Big Lebowski mural. And then I'm thinking of just even taking it further and getting like some bowling pin lamps in here or something. And maybe not doing the whole studio, but doing maybe the screening room like a Lebowski thing, putting like a Oriental rug on the floor. I haven't figured it out yet, but that's where my head's at design-wise. And the reason I don't have a lot of this planned out is because I got lucky and I got access to this space, which, again, just for you guys, because you're watching my live stream, it's the basement of a new house that we bought. We moved. We're still in the Atlanta area, but the offer got accepted on this house. I want to say like the Monday they started shutting everything down. It was probably like the 16th of March, and the whole country started shutting down like on Tuesday. And we got not locked in. We could have backed out, but we got very nervous. And it wasn't easy because the banks were running slow, the law offices were running slow, but we got it. And we got a steal on this house, but it needs quite a bit of work. So I'm literally living the money pit lately. In fact, we watched it, and this is not a joke. I mean, it sounds like a joke, but it was like watching a horror movie. And then today, I mentioned at the top of the stream, I'm a little extra stressed out. It was just a particularly rough day in terms of the remodel, but everything's okay. It's all going along. It's just the wheels are turning a little slower than I would have liked. Green screen, I don't know. I've never really thought about it. Anytime I see somebody else do it, I never like the way it looks. If I can figure out a way to make it look good, I would do it. I could see doing a creep party. If I could get Mark Duplass, who plays the creep, to join me for that, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would do it whatever time of day he wants to do it, I will do it. Oh, and then I missed a super chat. I'm sorry. Janice Hummel. Any chance for a creep? I'm answering. People are asking multiple questions, so I'm answering your questions anyway. I like the idea of I don't know if I would be able to do creep 1 and 2 in the same sitting. That would be tough. I'll think about it. I do like the idea of doing it. I could see doing that, especially for like a down and dirty one before I get the studio finished. I could see just like pulling the trigger on a creep one. I won't be doing the Money Pit streaming. I watched it once. It's enough. All right, let's talk some quarantine talk. And I'll answer other questions. You do not feel like you have to stay on topic with the questions. If you have a question, ask it. If I don't answer it, feel free to ask it again. I may or may not catch it. I am trying to catch all of it, unless I just don't like it. So today was the first day that I wore a mask in the store. I went grocery shopping today. And I've had to go in, I'm doing the social distancing thing, but I got to go get groceries about once a week, sometimes less, because I do buy more than I usually would buy, so that I don't have to go as often. I've not hoarded anything, except today I did buy a lot of rice and beans, just to have, but it's not like there's a run on rice and beans. But I wore a mask. It's a bandana. I looked like I was going to rob a bank, or a train is probably more apt. But it just felt so weird because, 6 weeks ago, had I worn that anywhere, I would have freaked everybody out. And not only was I not freaking people out, it was the first time in the last couple of weeks where I wasn't nervous that I was freaking people out. Because like I said, obviously I've had to go to the grocery store. There's a couple of big warehouse flooring stores here in the Atlanta area. I've had to go to Home Depot a few times. So I've had to go a few places. And then every time I'm in there, without a mask, I've recently started worrying that I might be scaring people. And there's plenty of other people without masks walking around, but I just don't want to be that guy. So I was wearing it, and it's hard to breathe in it, and it was hot, but I never felt like I was freaking people out, and that was kind of nice. I was a little less on edge. So I may start doing that until people kind of stop. Let me see. I got to get back to my thing so I can see myself. So in a related quarantine thing, and I see some people are hopping in now. If you hopped in now, you missed it. We opened this already. But in a related quarantine thing, I've eventually, I had to had to cut my hair. I think a lot of people have probably had to do it. I got some comments on the last video I uploaded because I just had some hair that was kind of wild, which does happen on occasion. Again, because I do all this myself, so I'm actually monitoring myself, making sure I'm in frame, and then I was going to say don't have a booger. I honestly can't tell if I don't have a booger or not when I'm recording because the screen I'm monitoring on, I used to do a bigger one, but there's a delay and everything, so I monitor on this little screen mainly just to make sure that the light's consistent and that I'm staying in frame, but I can't tell if I've got like something weird going on with my hair. Point being, I got a lot of comments about like people congratulating me for cutting my own hair because it didn't look good. But the funny thing about it is I've cut my own hair for about 15 years, maybe a little longer. Basically, since I moved away from home, I found it hard to find someone to cut my hair the way I liked, so I taught myself how to cut it. So this really is only going to work for fellas or ladies if you have a haircut remotely short like mine. Trimmers cost like $20, decent ones, like good ones. They're probably, you could get nicer ones, but I just buy $20 ones. They work great. They don't butcher up my hair. I've learned what guards to use. 2 tips. So what I do is I use the guards on the side, and then I use scissors on top. So I guess I'll give you 3 tips. With the guards, start longer than you think, and then you can always take it off, and you can't put it back on. Once you know what your cut is, then you just know what your guards are. What you do with those guards, anytime you get your hair cut, pay attention to how they're cutting it. The back of those guards is like rolled. It's a curve. What you do is you go up, and you literally roll the trimmers, like in the same spot, and what that does is it tapers it to the next length. So I do that all the way around, then just take scissors and just with the mirror, just take scissors and trim it all about the same length. It's harder to do than it seems. And then the real trick, like all of that's pretty easy, but the real trick is getting your hairline. And this one took me a few years. The trick is, and I can't show you that well, but I've got like a 2 mirror situation that makes it easier. So I literally can just turn around, but I slide my finger and put the bottom of my finger right on my hairline. Then I can just take the trimmers and touch them to my finger and pull down, and it makes a clean line every time. It works like a charm. This time I actually had to trim without scissors, which meant I had to sort of do this and take the clippers and do them. And the only reason for that was because we were moving and all my scissors were packed up. Hopefully that's interesting. It sounds boring to me, but I don't know. And I'll tell you again, if you use foul language, I'm clicking show, so your comments show up. YouTube blocks them. That's not me. So if you use foul language and feel like you're being censored, it's just because YouTube does that. Let's see. And then the only other thing I hate to talk about real serious stuff. I don't know. It doesn't feel right. I don't feel right in my own skin doing it. But the thing that I've kind of focused on with this quarantine business is I see a couple of things. One is I was very astonished at how quickly the entire country sort of acted in unison, more or less, like way more than less. Everyone sort of like adopted this crazy change to their lifestyle. And some of it is you have no choice because everything's closed, but everyone got on board with it, and it just happened so fast. And I was impressed with that. I think there was a lot of like unity in the country around that. But then another thing that I noticed is, and I noticed it early on, is a lot of people criticizing and pointing out people not behaving properly with this thing. I can't think of a better word. The problem I have with that is this is so weird and so different. Nobody really knows what to do. Because even when all those like college age kids were going out to spring break and that was like the big story, I get it. Like I get the idea of the story, but just to hate on those kids, I felt like was not just in bad taste, but it's just like, come on, man. Like this is weird. Like it's been a week. Like give people a minute to figure out what's going on. Um, that's been kind of a big thing. It's just like I think you got to be a little more patient with people. I think we're sort of maybe because we all acted in unison so quickly and so well together, it's easy to kind of point the finger at people that aren't doing what you think that they should be doing. But there's a lot of information coming out. It's different every day. Everyone's operating on different levels of information, and you never know if someone's operating on more information than you have or less. And I noticed that again because I'm from the state of Georgia. I live in the state of Georgia, and when we were sort of announced as the first state that was going to be coming back online, there was just like the amount of hate, not just online, but in the media, was really kind of just insane to me because it was like, one, okay, so people that don't live here don't need to be that concerned about it. And two, I do live here, and there ain't that much that's been opened. I've started to notice there's more people on the streets than there were last week and the week before that. So we're probably different in that respect than most states at this point. But there's a handful. I've seen like one or two restaurants out of hundreds. Like I live in an area with a lot of restaurants. I've seen a couple, not even single digits, not 5 or 6, like 2 that are open for dine in. And even then, the staff is wearing masks. They have to follow a bunch of rules. The tables are all spread out. And I'm also, because I'm in Georgia, and we're sort of one of the states that's leading the charge on this, I'm keeping an eye on sort of what's happening in Georgia with the numbers to see if they're going up or if they're going down. If they continue to go down, then Georgia's going to be responsible for getting people back to work. And that has made me nervous from the onset. I'm really feeling for people that need to work that can't. Even just thinking about it right now is making my spine twinge. Honestly, it is the most nerve-wracking concept I can think of. I don't know how people are dealing with it. I'm very lucky that I get to do this for a living. I can't stress. I left my day job 4 or 5 weeks before the country shut down. My boss called me a week into this, or maybe 2 weeks, and they had to lay off half of their workforce already, or furlough at least. That is some intense shit. It is intense. That's the stuff that makes me nervous the most. So I'm hoping we figure out a way to get most people back to work soon and get people that are at risk. And I'm not just talking about old people. I've got a close friend who has an immune disorder and is not going to be able to really go out in public for potentially a long time until a vaccine is created. The rest of us, honestly, a lot of us are probably going to have to get sick, catch it, and we're going to have to change what we're doing to protect people that are vulnerable, so that not just so that the economy can get back roaring, but just so people don't starve, so that the food supply chains don't get screwed. That's the stuff that freaks me out. So I don't want to get too bogged down in all that. I don't want to get too nervous. But a big thing is, I think, try not to judge people for not doing what you think they should do. Everyone, again, is operating on different information. This is a very weird thing. The only thing I can compare it to is Hurricane Katrina, which I went through a lot in relation to that. But that was on a much smaller scale. It was a much bigger problem, but the community was smaller. And with this, it's this national community, the global community, rather, where we're all dealing with it. And I think ultimately it's going to be about just helping and make sure people get all the things that they need. And part of that is going to be people have got to start working again. It's amazing how fragile, even though our economy was doing well, it's amazing how fragile it is. The virus has never, getting the virus has never scared me. I'm relatively healthy. I'm 35. I'm in relatively good health. If anything, I'm in worse health now. I have been putting away some beer since this thing started. And that's another thing. Since we're rambling, I'm also very concerned about people who have substance abuse problems, people that are sober. It's got to be. I know someone who had a long history of a lot of problems. I say this on the tails of me chugging a Corona, but it's got to be so tough to remain sober in a situation like this. Not just because it's stressful, that's enough, but you can't go anywhere. You're stuck at home. The liquor stores are open. If you're an alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic, there's literally nothing stopping you from going and buying some. There's nothing other than your own willpower. And it's being tested, and that makes me nervous talking about it too. I'm really feeling for people. There's no doubt there's going to be a lot of people relapsing. Let's see, I'm reading your comments. Someone asked about wedding ring. I guess I don't know. I don't know. Could you just see that I have a tattoo under my wedding ring, or have you seen it on other videos? I'll show it to you again because there's not that many people in here. Let's see. I gotta get it close to the camera. It's nothing special. It's an arrow, and Mrs. Van Dam has a heart under hers, and I have an arrow. And I'll say this: I have a rather. Let's see, how do I get to? I have a rather large one on my back. It takes up most of my back. That I probably was getting a needle in my back for a total of, I want to say 12 hours, but I think it was more than that. I think it was probably like 16. This sucked more. The other was just more grueling, but in terms of just sharp pain, this was literally probably, it was less than 30. I want to say maybe 15, 20 seconds. And I was going to like video it with slow motion on my phone and just, I could not, it was everything I could do to sit still just because of, I guess, all the nerves in your hand. So kudos to anyone that's got a lot of finger tattoos. I thought the one on my back was bad. Let's see. Where are the questions? Someone says, yay, liquor. I haven't really been drinking liquor. I'm a big rum guy. I like rum a lot, but I have just, and I kind of got off beer the last couple of years where I would just kind of have them on the weekends, like maybe like, if we went to a pool or something, I'd have some beers. But since the lockdown, I've just been enjoying some beer. And I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression. I mean, I'm only having a few a night, but I do like some high gravity beers too. Someone says, have you seen Oat Studios Rocka on Prime? Yes, I've seen it. It was on YouTube before it was on Prime, and there are 3 of them. Oat Studios. There goes my Corona burps. Oat Studios is done by, what's his name? It's on the tip of my tongue. Neil Blomkamp, who did District 9. That's his studio, and he did a series of short films, and they're all cool. I have had the Ron Jeremy spiced rum. It's not my brand. It is pretty good stuff. I'm a Sailor Jerry guy. I have others that I like. I like Gosling's with ginger beer, but Sailor's my shit. I have reached out to them. I have tried to get them to sponsor the show. If I ever get them to sponsor it, then you guys will know that they're like my white whale. They're the one. I don't think they do that type of thing, to be honest, but I'm going to stay on them. I would love, not just to get free Sailor Jerry, I would just love to. I love their rum. I think it's some of the best like stuff that you can get almost anywhere. Now, there's obviously better stuff, but as far as the stuff that's like you can just walk into a store and know that it's going to be there and it's reasonably priced, it's the best stuff. It's also a little bit high. It tastes just right, and it's got the higher alcohol volume. I'm telling you, I could do commercials for that shit. Any last questions? How long have we been going? I have no idea. I don't know why it didn't tell me. Why don't you tell me? The fuck? Oh, 39 minutes. That's enough. My Van Dam kids are going to be home soon. Um, Anything else, folks? Any other questions or anything? Again, memberships. Oh, I have a question for you guys, especially for the ones that, thought enough to hop on this thing. Um, Memberships, YouTube memberships. What do you want in terms of a membership? If you're going to pay a fee per month to get more from the channel, what would you like? I have some ideas. If you've got any, they'd be appreciated because I'll think them over and see what we can do. But I can kind of offer different stuff like exclusive videos. Seems like a no-brainer. Um, Maybe I can figure out how to bring back flicks of the week with the memberships. Luther Manning, I talked about the studio at the top. You can just dial the red bar back and check it out. I talked about it after the opening if you want to get some of those updates. Someone asked if I have any pets. I've got a little dog named Peanut who has appeared probably 2 or 3 times on the channel. I had her sitting here with me and she wanted out, so she's not around at the moment. Question about your studio lights. Tone down the colors. I'm probably not going to do that. You would be the only person that has asked that, and we'll see. I like my bright colors behind me. Best sci-fi flick of all time. You're just throwing that at my head. It's not Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is one of the best action movies of all time. It just happens to be sci-fi. And I don't want to say 2001: A Space Odyssey, but while I think that movie is a masterpiece, I don't know that it's necessarily the best of all time because it's also not really watchable for a lot of people. So that kind of rules it out. I want to lean towards like Alien or something like that, but I feel like I'm probably forgetting a big one. That always happens. Someone asked, where do you get your wardrobes and shirts? Yep, the little Van Dam kids are here. I get them everywhere. So I don't have like a source. If I see a cool looking shirt that I like that looks like me, I buy it. But very rarely do I go shopping for clothes. I just, if I see it and it looks like it's going to work and it fits right, even if it doesn't fit right, I'll buy it and I take it to a tailor and spend $12, and now I've got, a perfect shirt. Blade Runner is up there in terms of sci-fi for me, but also not as accessible for everybody. So I'd say Blade Runner 2049 is one of the best sci-fi movies to have come out this century. The Thing is certainly up there for me. I love John Carpenter. Just watched Escape from LA last night. I hadn't watched that in forever. And it is not a good movie, but I do like it. What's your favorite movie that gives you the most nostalgia? It's not Mud. I do like that one. The one that's going to give me the most nostalgia is going to be one probably that I watched a lot. Jurassic Park was my favorite when I was a kid. Um, there's probably a handful. Nostalgia wise, it's going to be things I loved when I was younger. Westworld. I'm behind on Westworld, the show, if that's what you're talking about. I love Trailer Park Boys, but I've not even got close to consuming all of their content. But I love the show. I've maybe only seen half of the actual series, and I love the movies. I think the movies are just brilliant. Do you cut your own hair or go to the barber? You can rewind it back. Not only do I cut my own hair, I explain how I cut it. Um, yes, I've mentioned the triangle before. Which thriller is your favorite? That's a good question. I don't know that I have a favorite thriller because they're all so different. When I think about like my absolute favorite movies, while thrillers are kind of my favorite category, there's not many thrillers that sort of make it into the top. I'd go with like something like Fargo or Blood Simple, like the Coen Brothers thrillers. Blood Simple, Fargo, and No Country for Old Men. If you sort of look at those as a trilogy, those are up there for me. Escape from New York, I absolutely prefer Escape from New York to Escape from LA. I had watched Escape from New York last week, and then last night on a whim, I watched Escape from LA because it was on Tubi. I checked out Tubi because I hadn't looked in a while to see what was on there, and it was on there. Triangle, I do like Triangle. I don't love it. I've watched it maybe twice, but I have recommended it quite a few times. Uh, Rear Window is brilliant. I don't really have a favorite Hitchcock movie, but Hitchcock is one of my favorite directors of all time. I love everything that he does. Anytime I see something new that feels like Hitchcock, I immediately fall in love with it. Even some of his not lesser known, but less popular ones like Rope. Rope is a brilliant thriller. I love that one. That one comes on and off streaming services. You can find that all the time. I'd love to give you guys more movie recommendations, but I'm having to wrap it up. The kids are needing me. Favorite character from a sci-fi movie? Shit, that's a good question. I feel like it's probably not going to be a human. I have trouble with these questions because I think about so many different options. I honestly, as many movies as I recommend on the channel, when people find out that's what I do, they ask me, hey, what's some good movies you've seen lately? It is the hardest question for me to answer. It's what I do for a living, and it's the hardest thing for me to answer. It's tough. It's tough. The Thing is certainly up there, though. It's one of my favorite like sci-fi horror movies for sure. Favorite creature? I like Lovecraft stuff, which fits into The Thing. Ah, man. It's tough. It's tough. I feel like I can only really answer those questions if something comes to mind immediately. Otherwise, it'll take me an hour. Favorite creature? It'll take me an hour to answer it. If it doesn't drop in there immediately, it'll take me an hour. Yeah, because I immediately start thinking like the American Werewolf in London. Transformation is up there. Man, I don't know. I got a friend who I say friend, I mean, he's a professional director, but he just directed a movie called Cyst that features this giant cyst monster that's going to be awesome. I can't wait to start telling you guys about that one. I do like Joe Hill. Thanks, everybody. Event Horizon's up there. Mouth of Madness, when he said favorite creature, Mouth of Madness popped in the head. In no way would that be my favorite creature because those aren't as highlighted in that movie, but I love their presence in that movie. I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, folks, I appreciate it. Let's get one more last look. Anybody that jumped in late, here is the play button. That's what it looks like. It's got Flick connection on it. I'm super stoked to have it and super stoked to have so many people watching it with me. Thanks for joining me. There will be more content. There was a video Wednesday. There's a video tomorrow dropping. Like I said at the beginning, if you see that notification, if you click on it right away, YouTube loves that. They take that as a sign that it's an exceptionally good video, and they recommend it to people that have never seen it. So that is always appreciated. I just want to keep reading the comments, but I can't. I gotta go. I really appreciate everybody joining me. I'm super stoked about the play button. Stay tuned for the next video, and there will be a live stream where we watch a movie together soon. Probably not next week, but potentially the week after that. I think there will be another one in the month of May, and I plan on doing more of them going forward. So thanks a lot. You will see me, and I'll somewhat see you soon.